This evening's Community Matters. We are discussing social media and technology and what kind of impact it's having on the British Bangladeshi community. Well, go to Tanhai. You were very quiet in the last segment. I'm assuming you're somebody who's always got lots to say, and I was surprised that you were so quiet. But one of the other negatives that we talked about is privacy aspect.
Yeah.
What's your views on in terms of all the information that we're sharing?
Thanks. I was just brewing the information.
Okay.
Good coffee takes time to brew. So, yeah, the one thing that I thought wasn't actually discussed was the privacy matter in social media. And this is what's happened. I just sense, if I look at it from I'm going to explain from a very micro perspective so everyone understands it. What happens is, you sign up for things like social media, and then you're busy clicking buttons, and you're never reading exactly what the fine print is. Mm-hmm. This is what is happening. I realize that all my information is recorded. The worst thing that happens through this, this lack of privacy is targeted media, targeted marketing. It drives me crazy. It just drives me ultimately crazy because everywhere I go,
they're actually feeding to whatever you're like.
I know, but why? It's like I didn't want anyone to find out, or even anyone in the globe to even feel or understand that I wanted to go to Venezuela. But why does this computer, who has absolutely no connection to me, of any sort, blood, skin, anything, realizes I want to go to Venezuela?
This whole thing about cookies, do you think most people are actually aware of what cookies are and what it does? And how
it's
dangerous
just a Sesame
it is?
Street thing.
It's a really clever piece of technology. Cookies
silently track what websites you're looking at, and for mostly for the purpose of commercial exploitation. So if you're trying to do shopping online, the cookies will record what you're trying to look for, what products and services you're looking for, and they'll use that information to target at you and try and send ads and various messages to you.
Well, some people might find it positive. I've seen it in firsthand how negatively it can be used. Like, I love holidays. I'm always looking at where to go, whether it's hotels or flights. You go and they'll remember what you actually put in. Next time you go, every time I go, it seems to be increasing price. Because
I find that smart. I mean, if you were the businessman, you would do the same
for
your
them,
company. For your company. Then I know I don't sign up to cookies. I'm very suspicious in anything that asks me to, do you want to add it? I say no. And then probably in fifth attempt, after doing my research, I will say yes. But then again, it comes on, your personal responsibility level, how you use it.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to come to you with is that we've talked about Facebook, we've talked about Twitter, we've talked about LinkedIn, all these. Are there other ways that you have used the internet, or we could call the social media?
Well, I think there's this amazing taboo subject that no one seems to want to talk about, and I seem to be very eager. It's called online dating, which is like the amazing phenomenon of, the 21st century, of how you can actually meet someone. And
tell me how you got into the thing. What are you actually doing? Have they been successful? Because traditionally, if you talk about a Muslim marriage or Asian marriages, it's done usually through families or elders in the community, etc. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Absolutely. What has happened with me is that I've done it as a pet project because my work is related to public relations and marketing, and me and my team, we just decided, let's do something. Let's get someone, create someone, which would be me, and let's put her on every single dating website available in the United Kingdom and also
like
internationally.
Science, film I watched when I was a kid.
And it's quite interesting
because
I know, and what we're trying to do is kind of determine and kind of draw out what kind of reactions we get to different forms of questions, different forms of profiles, and hopefully write a blog about this in the future. But the online dating scenario is pretty interesting. It can turn very dirty, it can turn very bitter, but it can also be quite, interesting. You do meet a lot of people. I think I've been doing a lot of research on online dating since we are so busy on our phones forever and ever. I think it's a great way to actually meet people.
Do you think it's, what about the rest of the panel members? Do you think it's a way forward in terms of meeting prospective partners?
This is exceptional in that way. I would say it's still probably not that relevant to British Bangladeshi community that we should be talking about, if you know what I mean. I'm sure there is probably 2 to 5% or 10% people maybe using or abusing it, but I still think it's not that relevant, especially the dating website. In terms of marriage website, I still probably don't know. I haven't done any personal research, but my take on this would be that our community would be quite skeptic in terms of appreciating it or embracing it, if you know what I mean.
Why do you think they're skeptical?
Look, our community takes time to adjust to new technologies. Let me just explain. We've just gone through various stages of accepting technology. First it was the invention of the computer, then it was the internet age, and now we're living in the world of social media. So our Bengali community, especially our generation, we are really adopting to this new technology. The older generation are catching up but rapidly going into it. So if technology is used in a safe and sensible way, then it could be very beneficial to our Bengali community.
Okay.
However, if it's abused, then it could have a detrimental effect. Addiction, technology addiction, abuse, data fraud, identity theft, you name it, all sorts of bad things can happen.
So let me come to you. We're talking about this internet dating, and this might be the way forward. Do you think this is the way forward? I have so many friends who are probably in their 30s now, who are very educated, who are very professional at what they do, and for whatever reason they decided to delay getting married. Is this not the way forward for our younger generation?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I totally disagree, because you're really creating somebody you're not. You could sit there and say, I'm 6 foot tall, I look like Brad Pitt, this is my picture, tweak your picture, do whatever, chat up with someone, and then realize, you know what.
But eventually you're going to find out. I'm not talking about people abusing it. What about in reality, in a good way? Do you not think, how are we supposed to meet people then?
It's not a good way, because really, internet is like a window to the wall. So I could sit here and say I'm somebody I'm not. For example, you said our Bengali community isn't on it at the moment. How do you know he's not sitting on it there as somebody else, as John, and chatting to one of your other friends? You won't know.
I'm not
You
John.
won't know.
I am not John.
But I don't know, right? I don't know if you guys followed the case in Bradford recently. This couple, it was a Pakistani couple in Bradford, married couple with kids. The lady would put her picture up and saying she's looking, all these freshies will be interested in her. Then he'll act like her brother, and then they'll take dowry money, whatever, and then she'll move on to someone else. She wouldn't get married.
I remember reading that.
So stuff like that. So something like that, would that really give any credit to a dating agency or any internet dating?
I think
there must be some good stories, successful stories.
What I'm saying is, I'm not totally cancelling dating agencies. What I'm saying, dating agency probably doesn't have a space in our community, or probably will not have a space, because there is a distinction in dating agencies and the marriage bureaus, or the marriage website. Let's make that clear. And people probably, you will encourage those friends of yours who are in their late 30s or mid 30s.
To
go to those sites, not to the dating site, if you know what I mean. So there is, for example, the gambling websites, or for example, other content out there. It's still not relevant to our community yet.
Look, technology, if you think about dating sites, it's a purely commercial tool. Companies that set up dating agencies on the internet use it to make money, and social media, internet has created a lot of millionaires. So
of course. Millionaires and billionaires.
All those businessmen out there, go for it, because there's money to be made out there if you use it correctly.
No, just a warning.
So everything's about views.
Contacting you, and then you're like, please be wary.
I'm pro online dating because I find it extremely hard. I've talked to a lot of people, at least 50 or 60 people about this, taken their opinions, and I said, tell me why you're online dating. And they're like, it's because I just don't have time to meet someone. No one introduces me anymore. And that is the biggest complaint.
When you say dating, I mean, how do you define dating?
Dating is basically you meet someone who is a potential spouse or potential partner.
Potential partner or spouse.
Yes.
So it will not be something to do with like nikah or wedding, if you know what I mean.
Well,
the marriage, the value of marriage.
Means marriage. If your spouse is
okay,
husband.
listen, we've got very few minutes left. I want to cover the very last thing, which is around what would you like to see in terms of social media, in terms of technology? What do you think is coming later part of 2014 or in the future?
I really want to answer.
Social media is quite a new thing, but it needs a little bit of regulation and reform, because clearly there's safety concerns, clearly there's issues of fraud, identity theft, kids are abusing it, bullying other kids from their own classrooms and so on. So naturally technology is good, but with the advances that we are seeing today, we also need safeguard and safety precautions so that our kids, our nieces and nephews are not bullied, and business people's data is not stolen and abused.
Okay. Farhan?
What I want to say, I'm going to give it my best shot. Mark Zuckerberg, we need a dislike button, okay? This is what we need, because I'm sick and tired of liking things that I don't dislike, and I'm sick and tired of people who actually say, my father died, like. Somebody liked the fact that someone else's father had died, so definitely social media needs a dislike button.
I think that's just an acknowledgement
Hopefully
button.
Mark is listening to you.
Yeah,
And everybody around is going around the whole of Europe.
Look,
hopefully he's on some flight.
She's caused the share price of Facebook to go down.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But
Privacy settings, definitely. I think that there has to be something done. I didn't get a chance to comment on what you said previously. The fact is that with social media, even with technology improving, progressing, we spend so much time, but so much lesser time on particular things. People spend lesser than 3 seconds on a web page, and what happens is you ultimately end up clicking or saying yes to so many things because you want to move on to the next thing. So this is what people have done. This technology has taken advantage of the fact that we don't have any more time. And thus, they've kind of made it into a kind of manipulative procedure where they get you to agree to things, say yes to things. So it has to be a bit more user-friendly or a bit more sensitive in the future.
So, what are your final thoughts on what you'd like to see in the future?
I think I do want the technology to move forward. It makes our life easy, but at the same time, we need to take some responsibility for our own action. Something that is private, we shouldn't share with the whole world, because nothing ever is private on Facebook or any social media, because it's the window to the world out there, and it's like a knife. It's up to you how you use it. A woman could use it in the kitchen to cut her veggie. A murderer could use it to stab someone. So we all take responsibility. Everything's out there, so we actually take responsibility.
Your final thought?
I think it's a blessing. For the first time probably in world history, the whole world, the entire humanity can connect with each other. But definitely, I agree with Sabi and everyone else said it comes with all those negatives as well. So I say this is reality, rather than just, we should look into how you can maximize by taking advantage from it and save yourself from the negativity of it.
Thank you.
Personally, it's been a beneficial tool
For me, because we've managed to create groups in Redbridge and Clayhall and create organizations and forums and meetings that has been beneficial to both myself and all my friends and professional people in Redbridge and Clayhall. So keep it up and keep up the good work and be responsible.
Okay, can I just say thank you to you all for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts. And with that, we come to the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. And the key thing would be, if we were to come to a conclusion that social media has been a good thing, it's allowed us to communicate with our friends and family, not on a local level, but on an international level. The fact that we can talk to our relatives in Bangladesh, or if they're in Australia, or if they're in America, etc. But one of the things we do need to be aware of and really wary of is aspects of privacy, what's happening to your data, what's happening to the kind of information you share, the element of fraud, etc. in terms of bullying that we've covered. So be careful, be safe, and use social media in moderation, and don't go crazy like some people and use it a bit too much. Good night and Assalamu alaikum.